Hey Joe, how's it going?
Hello,
Happy
man.
New
Happy New Year.
You too. Yeah, I wanted to start. We were talking with Sean a little bit about Stefon Diggs, and he said that it's been a little bit of personnel decisions when he hasn't been out there on some big downs over the last couple of weeks. His snap percentage is down pretty much over the last 2 or 3 weeks. What's gone into that from your perspective as the play caller?
Look, I think there's times that we definitely tag him out of plays, I think it was something, earlier in the season we talked about, to get to where we want to get to, just not playing, even you look at the Eagles game, like you play a lot of plays just on any receivers, to Gabe included. So there's plays where we go into the week and we purposely have him out of the game. Um, there's never a third down that we have him out of the game. There's just the reality of there's certain times in the game that receiver is going to need a blow. So there's a combination of sometimes of him naturally, he runs a further route and has to come out for a play or two, and there's sometimes where he's just naturally tagged. But there's an intent behind a lot of times throughout the week of certain ones that we can just give a blow off of him, for that. But in the critical situations, third down, and that we obviously want him on the field.
And then also in your seat as the play caller and the offensive coordinator, what do you think has contributed to the drop off in production? He had five 100-yard games in his first 6 games, hasn't had one since. And this is a guy that, has made his name on that over the last couple of years. What do you think's led to that?
I don't think it's any one thing. Look, I think it's I think it's a combination of we have been trying to run the ball a little more. I think other guys are continuously step up, and naturally the focus is always going to be on Stefon Diggs, right? When you play teams, that's where the focus is going to be. And I have to continue working through just finding ways to get him regardless of that. And it's nothing Steph isn't doing. And then when we have those opportunities, us making sure that we connect on those. And I feel confident with those two guys moving forward. And at the end of the day, Steph wants to win football games, and so talking to him after, like, he's good to go. Obviously we're going to need him to get to where we want to get to, and we're going to need him to be productive. And I'm going to have to get him going to be productive. But full confidence in him and full confidence in Josh and them and us getting that right.
And when you say that after you talked to him after and he said he was good to go, Sean said that, there hasn't been too much ailing him physically that he knows of. Is that any part of this that, wanting to get him a blow at times because he's dealing with something?
No, I think, like, everybody, it's week 18, right? Everybody's going through things. It's nobody's body's going to feel good at this point. But so us being mindful of that, but knowing, the critical elements right now, and, in the meaningful times, we need obviously him on the football field. So I think it's just nothing out of the ordinary of just the end of the season, bumps and bruises.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, you're heading back home on Sunday night for a game near where
This is
you were
home.
raised. This is
Yeah.
okay. The Buffalo is now home. You're heading back to a home that used to be home, I guess I could say, if you would call it that. But being raised close to Hard Rock Stadium, what will it be like to go back there as the play caller of this offense?
Yeah. I don't really try to get caught up into those things. Obviously grew up, attending those football games and spent a lot of time in that stadium. But, we have a great opportunity for us this week. And so my focus is strictly on that, and not really trying to get caught up into anything else other than, how can we find a way to get this win this week and worry about the rest kind of after the fact.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.
Coach Brady, Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports 1080. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, bud.
Coach, going into now week 6, when teams get book on you, how do you counter adjust to set up what's been successful offensively on a consistent basis?
I think it's a week to week thing because all the defenses are different. You play, different coverage structures, different front structures, and every week you put something different on tape and just trying to figure out, hey, what is something that we can do off of that, or what is something that has attacked the team in the past that's something that we kind of do. I think it's just more of just making sure that we're continuing to evolve and making sure that we're continuing to grow the offense of, hey, make it look like one thing and do another. But, we have our core concepts, and, we're going to hang on our hat on those. And, if we feel like it's something to an advantage to be able to add on to it, we'll make sure we continue to do that.
Absolutely, Coach. And I know, during your 5-game stretch, you've seen Diggs bracketed, you've seen Diggs double team. yesterday he was singled up quite a bit. I'm not sure if Josh saw something different, but I know late in the game you did try to connect there, take a shot. But as a number one wide receiver, will Diggs be more of a point of emphasis schematically in the passing game going forward?
Yeah, I think he's always a point of emphasis, and he's always a point of emphasis for the defense, regardless of it might look like he's in a one-on-one matchup. Especially when you play a team like we played yesterday, we knew we were going to have to earn it. It wasn't going to be easy. I think we made it a little harder than it needed to be, obviously, but we knew it wasn't going to be easy. And even when it looks like he's in a on a one-on-one, there's always eyes on him, and there is safety potentially kind of work into it. It's not going to be every play naturally, but I think yeah, we got to get him going. I got to get him going. But I understand it's also it can't be something where, hey, we're forcing him or Josh is forcing a ball and making bad decisions, right? And so us can just continue to play within the system and Steph trusting, and then when we have those opportunities, making the most of it.
Absolutely, Coach. One more quickly, if I can. AFC East title game against the Miami Dolphins, a high-powered, explosive offense as well. What will it take, for everything to click and be consistently offensively against this Miami Dolphins team?
I think we just have to do our job. It was kind of the thing we kind of talked about at halftime. When I felt like every play was something here and there, right? It was a protection on this play, it was a route depth on this one, it was a decision on this one, and when we're playing, everyone's doing our 1-11, we're all playing together, good things usually happen. And I felt like yesterday there was a little too much of kind of independent contractors or one little mistake here and there. And so our guys recognized it. Our guys, had a great look at halftime of understanding, hey, we just got to do our job. And I think that that's the most important thing, is just continue to make it about us. And if we just do our job, good things are going to happen.
Absolutely, Coach. Have a great week of practice and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe. Asked something similar to Sean, but was just kind of curious your perspective on the offensive line yesterday. Guys had talked about how it's always a challenge going up against the Patriots, but what did you just make of that unit and what they did throughout the game?
Yeah, I think they battled. It's never going to be easy. You get a bunch of different front structures, you get different type of blitzes. We knew you're getting one-on-one blocks. I felt like early on there was a little some protection issues that hasn't normally showed up, some uncharacteristic ones, or but our guys, I thought, once we got to the second half, they started cleaning that up and kind of understood kind of what was happening. And I thought even you look at the last drive of the game, our defense obviously playing lights out, and we get the ball with 5 minutes to go and find a way to just end it on our terms. And so a lot of positives to that, but them just battling and figuring out like, hey, how is this game going to be played? How are the guys kind of approaching the blocks, and them kind of working together. You could see the difference when they were all working together in terms of, and when they were, one person was kind of off. And so they battled, and we found a way to get the win.
Kind of related to that, a lot of guys yesterday were talking about how they see this team being very resilient within a game, but also within a week of practice too. I was curious over the last few weeks, just what are some examples you've seen of this team kind of doing what it needs to do to be in the position it's now in from that resiliency standpoint?
Yeah, like we've been having to play meaningful games for a while, and we understand that at the end of the season you can throw records out of the window. None of that matters, right? This is the NFL, and so every game is going to be a tough fought one. And you look back to dating back to Kansas City, and we had a little lull in the second half, and our guys find a way in the last drive of the game to go down and get points on the board, and do the same thing against the Chargers. And even last week, or yesterday, not nowhere near what we want from a standard of our offense, but with 5 minutes to go, finding a way to not let them to get the ball back. And so understanding that, hey, things might not be going our way, but as long as there's time on the clock, we got an opportunity to A, win, or B, finish on our terms. And our guys have that belief and that faith that we're going to figure it out, both in the coaches and they have the faith in the coaches, and I have the faith in the players that we're going to figure it out. And, we think that there's power to that, this week, and hopefully moving forward.
Thanks. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, Coach, first of all, Happy New Year to you. And secondly, this is the third time now you're going to face a team that the division teams, obviously, you were in a different role the first time. And earlier you played the Jets, you were in your role, team that lost first game. Same thing with New England. This time you won the first game. Can you just kind of take us into how your role and how you see things has morphed the first two times around, if that makes sense? after being in a different role before and then playing the team again? I'm sorry, I'm being clumsy the way I ask it, but I hope you understand what I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't see it, much different, to be honest with you. I think when you're the quarterback coach, you try to approach it, and give ideas as if, you are the coordinator, and you have to install to Josh, with the vision and the intent and, of how the coordinator sees it. So, regardless of win or losses, we know in division games are always going to be tough. And so we know that the results of when we played them, what was that, week 4, week 3, will have no bearing on this Sunday, right? And and so we're going to have to be at our best and know that it's going to take our best to win this football game.
And of course, Miami, people see that they have some injuries, but they still have some pretty good players on that side of the ball. Obviously, you have to deal with. What have you seen from Van Ginkel, especially a guy that now might even take on more of a bigger role as a guy who has to get after the quarterback?
I mean, he's relentless. It's we felt that going into the last time we played him. He just pops off the tape. He's not a guy that it's sometimes you can be considered like a tryhard. He's a very productive. Both in the run game and the pass game. You can see he makes the pick 6 against Washington. Like the guy, when he's out on the field, he makes plays, and someone that we obviously got to be aware of, at all times where he is.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, I know you got a lot of Steph questions already, but I was curious more specifically, he didn't play at all on that first drive coming out of halftime. Was there a specific reason why he wasn't on the field for that drive?
Let me take it back. No, I know the first play we started in like a big personnel set. Obviously lost some yards, and then the next play happened to be one of the plays that he's necessarily tagged on. Probably could just put him in the game just because we're coming out of that he's not tagged on. Probably could just put him out on the field just because it's the second play. I'm not going to need to give him a blow. Then I believe I went right on the ball. And ran a tempo play that we ended up throwing to Dalton. And I think once we got down there, it was more of hey, we were kind of running the football a little bit where we felt like we didn't necessarily need to have to get him back out there. Nothing purposeful, nothing. There was no intent other than I think it was just a product of kind of the way that it was kind of getting played. Look, I know we're better when Steph's on the field. There was 3 times we threw the ball yesterday where the intent was Steph on the field, but he's not on the field, and Josh trusts, whoever is in that position that, to make the play, right? And so anytime he's on the field, we're better off. We know that.
Is there you're saying there were times he wasn't on the field and, there's plays that are called that he's supposed to be on the field for? Is there what's that communication with you up in the box, when he's not out there, but you're calling a play that he's supposed to be in on? How does that kind of
work? You have to trust. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You have to trust, at the end of the day, you trust your guys. There's times where, you can call a play you call the big post and after that play he's going to need a breather, right? So in the back of your mind what that play is going to be. There's sometimes where you can call a play and hey, he's coming. You're always thinking ahead. Hey, what's going to be my next call? Hey, if we get any yards here, or my next third down, I got to make sure I get the play in as fast as possible so Josh, can get to the line and see it. So there's sometimes where, all right, the communication is, hey, Steph's out, or I see him kind of walk on the field or needing a blow, and I can change the play, which has happened. In the last couple of weeks, there's been times where you go to call a play and it's okay, let's change it from that thought. There's sometimes where you got to have confidence in the guy that are in there, and or you might not know until you're kind of already calling it in, and Josh clearly has the confidence in the guys, and I do as well, that the guys will be able to execute. So that's kind of where it's at.
Okay. And then I was curious on Josh, there's been these last 2 games a little bit, you talked about why overall there were some issues early yesterday, but is there anything specific with Josh that you feel I don't know, has been coming up in these last 2 games that have caused these slower starts to games? I know that's a focus for you guys, kind of getting off to a hot start. Is there anything that specifically has stood out to you with Josh?
No, obviously yesterday, Josh wasn't pleased with the way that he performed, and, I got to do a better job of just getting him in a rhythm, right? You think back to the first play, you're hoping to, potentially get Steph and Gabe, 2 vertical routes that he feels good about, get Josh's kind of feet going with 2 jams, a comfortable play that, we both felt good would be a good one to kind of get him going, and, we give up or potentially an outlet and we give up a sack, right? So I got to do a better job, as we're going from there, and then you get some looks in the red zone, boom, you go straight to the red zone, which I'll take that all day, every day. We obviously got to cash in there, but, you play a team like New England where their defense kind of changes when you get in the red zone, and, it kind of gets uncomfortable where you can get blitz zero, you can get brackets, you get all that type of stuff. And so just finding a way to just calm his feet down, get him in a rhythm, which is, both on myself and making sure that he's feeling comfortable when he's in there. And I feel that I'm just as confident in that. I don't have any issues with that. I know that we'll be able to get this right.
Cool. Last one for me. Drops have been a little bit more frequent as of late, and James Cook specifically has had, a couple in the last few games. Is there anything is that like conversations during the week about, why the drops are happening a little bit more? Is that a concern for you at all with James specifically? Like, how do you address that?
Yeah, I mean, like you never obviously want to drop ball, and I know these guys aren't trying to drop it. Everyone's out there trying to do their best, and but if drops are happening, we obviously have to continue to harp on it and making sure that we're doing enough, before and after practice, whether we got to get on the jugs and making sure we're getting after with the quarterbacks. But there's no lack of confidence in in any of these guys that are dropping the ball. I know Josh obviously has the confidence in throwing to him, and it's not going to stop me from from these guys getting the ball.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, one more quick one. Latavius Murray's been really solid for you guys this season. But it seemed over the last month or so, Ty Johnson has really made a run to earn more playing time. How do you balance that? You got him going late in the game, Ty, that is, this last week, balancing the solid nature of Latavius as a vet, as a pro, versus a younger guy that may offer more, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. And how do you balance get that snap share, if you will?
Yeah, I think when you look at kind of how the vision and the roles of kind of, over the last couple of weeks is, it's obviously we lost, Ty for the Chargers game and whatnot, but, you felt Ty out there kind of running the football the other day. You kind of feel his size, power, you see his understanding and, his football IQ and the 4-minute situation, not going out of bounds. And, Latavius has understood, hey, his kind of role has come down to, hey, him being on third down and making sure he's, great in pass protections and, in some of these short yardage situations. I know he obviously wants that one run back, but, it's been where he's coming in the game on third down. So sometimes I think when it looks at the numbers, it might look like, hey, this guy's getting more play or this guy's getting more play, when sometimes it's more situationally based from that standpoint.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.